I always see myself. I have autism and ADHD. Autism has many favors. I'm going to use my task to space wisely. Otherwise, we may be here all day. Yes, I need to do my delightful voice. Ow, oh, ow.
My disability includes sensory motor challenges, body schema, social anxiety, mood regulation, OCD, a highly impulsive body, and some co-occurring health issues. So there is a lot of stuff going on in one single body. These do present significant obstacles to my everyday functioning. From special education to higher education has been a long road. So I'm absolutely enjoying the opportunity of education, even as I try to navigate my autism, which can feel like rowing a leaky boat. I graduated UC Berkeley with a heap of unexpected honors and awards. Like giant packs of encouragement that I must be on the right track. Other opportunities to learn and grow included writing for the Daily Californian, Spectrum at Cal, the UC Berkeley Disability Lab, teaching an autism class. More packs of encouragement in getting a mention on President Obama's Instagram. What an honor. And what a thoughtful message from my personal hero, disability rights legend, the late Judy Heumann. I also got to research autism, under the guidance of Professor Dacre Keltner. I'm now a PhD neuroscience student at Vanderbilt. A budding neuroscientist has got to have brain neurons on the slide background. LOL. I'm a P.D. Soros Fellow and a NEES Fellow. And just recently I was awarded the prestigious National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship. I'm in the labs of Professor Carissa Cassio and Professor Mark Wallace. Both research the sensory system in autism. I hope some of you will get to participate in my research. I continue to write more articles. And am involved in numerous disability orgs. In today's talk, I'm going to cover two topics. One is around inclusive language and the other is my perspective of the modals of disability. So let's dive right in. Those who favor its continued use, contend that it's deemed necessary for scientific inquiry, arguing that alternatives might dilute the pursuit of effective science. Let's see the problems with this. The 1963 Life magazine article introducing an extraordinary new treatment, Yay Be Yay, by Dr. Iver Louvaz, exemplifies this issue. Autistics are referred to as mental cripples. Pamela, the 6-year-old autistic child, is made to stand barefoot on a floor that is laced with metal, so that shocks could be administered by the clinician, who is wearing shoes. The autistic children were screamed at, slapped by the therapists, and made to feel scared. By using the pathologizing language of mental cripples, the use of dehumanizing shocks, screams, slaps, and punishment was justified and even hailed as an extraordinary treatment. We can almost draw another parallel to unsightly ordinances or ugly laws, which were a series of laws that were enforced in the United States and other European countries in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Because they were unsightly and ugly, disabled people were fined or imprisoned for appearing in public during the daytime. The ugly laws were justified under the guise of public health and safety, and claims of the disabled as a threat to public morality. These laws were used as a form of social control and discrimination against the disabled, who were seen as undesirable and unworthy of inclusion in public life. The point being that pathologizing language by the scientific community cements societal acceptability of that language, which then can be used as a justification for great harm to this population. In the legal arena, earlier examples of pathologizing language included terms like feeble-minded and imbecile, used to justify eugenics, like in the landmark Buck v. Bell, 1927 case. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 mandated the removal of such discriminatory language from federal laws and policies related to disabled individuals. If laws can do it, why not science? Isn't science a contributor towards the progress of humanity? There is no reason why science and humanity cannot march together. Our use of scientific language can and should evolve to be inclusive of humanity even as there is a rush for solutions. It is also worth noting that autism is not like being hospitalized for a week with a severe bacterial infection. The autistic is living out in the community for many decades of their lives. Imagine the mental health toll of being referred to as a pathology case, decade after decade. From birth to childhood to adulthood to old age. There needs to be a balance between the accurateness of science in finding solutions yet extending empathy when describing fellow human beings. With that in mind, dear scientists, please continue the needed scientific rigor and get us to explanations and solutions that we so badly need. But please, remember that you are talking and writing about your fellow human beings. A slight empathic mindset shift may be the right start. Science and humanity can march hand in hand. Dear scientists, new terminology every few years are not the scientific breakthrough we need. We spent so much time over another new label of profound when we already had level 3. We need to move the needle towards actual solutions and progress. I also have suggestions for my peers. Dear disabled peers, let's reclaim existing vocabulary and depathologize them. Let's take the lead from the wheelchair user community. The derogatory term cripple was repurposed to the positive crip. Now you have Crip Hop and even an Oscar-nominated documentary on disability rights, Crip Camp. Dear disabled peers, the wheelchair user community has embraced both person-first and identity-first language. Person-first language of person with autism was adopted from the language of the disability rights movement. Later we also adopted identity-first language of autistic. Turns out, both have good intentions. Let's not keep arguing about which one is bad. Let's move on and encourage both usages. Next up is my perspective on the models of disability. The social model of disability emphasizes societal barriers as the main obstacle for the disabled people. Major goals were deinstitutionalization and moving us towards inclusion. This model has deeply influenced disability legislation and policy. I will quickly mention the neurodiversity model here, in the context of the social model. Autism is one of the many disabilities under this umbrella. The concept posits that all disabilities commonly perceived as neurological or psychiatric in nature are simply neurodifferences or variations of human cognitive functioning. Similarities between social and ND is that both look at changing societal diversity. Differences lie in their origin. The social model from a disability rights perspective. ND is from a neurological differences perspective. Both models have a ton of gatekeepers, people the autistic is surrounded by, the therapists, the social workers, the autism professional and the educators. All well-meaning of course. The medical model of disability viewed disability as an individual medical condition that needed medical intervention. However, as it was the dominant historic paradigm with its focus on just the medical aspect, it resulted in horrible mass institutionalization. The gatekeeper here was the medical professional who had to certify fit enough to rejoin society. The negative history meant distrust of the model by social model advocates. Problem is that this got conflated to a distrust of all things medical, which also translated to no research should be allowed on the medical front. But the reality is that medical issues are ubiquitous in autism. To put a human face on this, I know a peer who can have unto 20 seizures a day and a family that had to hire an RV to take their son to the doctor so that he would have an access to the bathroom the entire time. Many of these will get compounded over time and we will be terribly unhealthy senior citizens, adding to the existing issues of aging. For many of us on the spectrum, there is an urgent need for medical research that will lead to medical solutions. Enough of diagnostic overshadowing. Precision pharma, not psychotropic drug cocktails. We need that research into biomarkers and underlying physiology that can get us to solutions, along with robust healthcare policies. This is a big gap in the NT and social models. Saying disability is a mere variation of the human condition can be a slippery slope because it implies that nothing more need be done about it. And we come a full circle. All this ties into the idea of equity of access, that the late disability rights activist, Judy Heumann, discussed in her memoir. I quote, "Equity of access looks different for me. When this is not understood, we come across as complaining even though we are asking for the same rights as everyone else." The point is that, just like Judy said, equity of access looks different for different autistics. For some autistics, a focus on just social aspects of strengths-based opportunities are what is needed to get to equity of access. For other autistics, equity of access means they also need solutions to their challenges, including the medical ones, as well as the strengths-based opportunities. It's a dual-pronged and not either-or. The flashlight focus on a strengths-based approach of the neurodiversity movement is wonderful and needed, and will help open many doors of opportunities. But the flashlight also needs to turn its beam towards challenges-based solutions, otherwise a huge chunk of the autistic population is left behind. The same door of opportunity is shut to the autistics with challenges on the communication front and health fronts, the ones classified as Level 2 and Level 3 on the diagnosis. To put a human face on this, how does inclusion work for autistics who are shut out and homebound due to behavioral, communication or health issues? For example, what parent or social group will allow their children to play with an autistic child who may be aggressive? So many of my adult peers are stuck at home with aging parents because no program wants them or they have health issues. Even caregivers want the easy clients. I also want to add this important insight. Solutions for the most marginalized members of a group benefit the entire group. A simple example is, those street ramp, curb cuts, and elevators to help wheelchair users, is being used by every parent with a stroller, or every traveler with luggage. By extension, if we can find solutions to help the autistics most impacted by disability, the ones referred to as Level 3 on the DSM criteria, these solutions may well end up benefiting a whole bunch of other autistics. We must both talk and walk inclusion. It's not enough for us to just push for better language in scientific publications and then feel that is a great job done. What is the content of those publications? What are the research priorities? Are they looking to address the challenges and getting us to those challenges-based solutions? And are they looking to leverage strengths so that we get to open those doors of opportunity? What is the end goalpost of inclusion? Watch this next clip to find out.
I want to talk to you about inclusion and belonging for people with disabilities. Acceptance and inclusion of disabled people into all walks of society is no doubt an important first step. But what we need goes beyond inclusion. Inclusion means just existing in the same space as non-disabled people. Disabled people need to not just be included, we need to feel we belong. Belonging is a sense of community, where you are accepted as an equal member of the group and where your life is seen as having worth. Belongingness in society is, I think, what we all yearn for at the end of the day, whether we are disabled or not. Starting today, let us all strive together towards belongingness for people with disabilities.
We have much work left to do. We have miles to go before we sleep. But we are running out of time. So I will just end with this last bit. I like to think of myself as possibility, hurry as possibility. I want you to think of disability as possibility too. Only when you think possibility, can the door of opportunity open. From possibility to opportunity. Can the quest for solutions ever end? Never, answers the mind. Emotions, and the sensory body, are sinkholes, en route. Mind urges. Take detours, challenge the sinkholes, we must persevere. Have to travel possibilities, open opportunities, and pave new roads.